Welcome to the Magnetic Growth Podcast, the go-to show if you're looking to grow a project or a business in the world of crypto and Web3. I'm Jacob Block, your host, and for the past 3 years, I've been deep in the trenches of crypto growth, working across dozens of projects with combined market capitalizations north of $1 billion through my growth company, Magnet. I'm also a member of the Forbes Business Council and an Amazon best-selling author on crypto growth. But that is more than enough about me. Let's get into today's session. Creators code behind the mic. The way I look at this podcast is that if you're aiming to build an audience in crypto, dive into content creation or grow your company through founder-led branding, then this episode is a must listen. Why? Because today I'm joined by someone who lives and breathes this world, Caleb Rebelo. Caleb is the host of the Log In or Log Off podcast, where he's interviewed top Web3 founders like Lucanet of Pudgy Penguins. He's also deeply embedded into the creator economy side of crypto, having worked with hundreds of creators. He's had a front row seat to the ideas, tactics, and the stories of some of the most impactful minds in the space. And he's here to share some of those insights with us. Oh, and one more thing, despite what he says, it's confirmed, Caleb is not the next Rory McIlroy. Caleb, welcome to the... How are you doing, man?
I knew you'd have to sneak that in somewhere, but the rest of it was a very, very nice intro. So I appreciate the kind words. And yeah, excited to be on here, man.
I guess that's the question firstly, right? How did I do? Seeming as you're the podcast man, how was the intro? How am I doing so far?
The intro was strong. It was short, it was snappy, it was enticing. Yeah, you're a natural. I think you'll be good at this then.
And I made you sound impressive, which is a hard thing to do.
That is probably the hardest task of them all, to be honest. Very few people have managed to master that. So yeah, it's a good skill to have. Maybe I'll come on here more often.
Mate, more than welcome, more than welcome. But yeah, look, let's get into it. And I always want to start with a question of how did you end up here? Like, you're in crypto full time. How did the journey start? And yeah, just give us a bit of your background, man.
Yeah, so I mean, during COVID, I was investing in stocks because my brother got me into it. I was investing in like the Teslas. I was kind of going into that whole world. I was very interested in finance as a whole, reading a lot of finance books, as I think everyone is at that sort of age, like 19, 20. And then my brother kind of said, kind of got me into Bitcoin and Ethereum, gave me a brief understanding of the tech and why the future could be bright for both Bitcoin and Ethereum and the crypto industry as a whole. Kind of dipped my toe into it for a few months, then kind of early 2020, got a little bit involved. Nothing major, kind of just saw it as like a DCA in, see what it'll do over the long term and everything like that. And then actually when me and my brother were looking to buy a house, we were looking, because we went on a walk one day and he was like, oh, there's these things called CryptoPunks. They're the first NFTs on Ethereum. And he was like, oh, should I buy one? They're £900 at the moment. But he was like, oh, no, maybe I shouldn't. Because like when you put the more money towards the house and everything like that. And then like obviously after everything happened with CryptoPunks, post that, I kind of went into the NFT rabbit hole. Enjoyed it. So obviously the craziness of 2021, everyone loved the NFT mayhem. And then stuck around primarily because of the entrepreneurship within the industry. It was a industry that was unique in the way that you could connect with really small people a lot easier than you would in the Web2 world. That's kind of what got me into it and kind of why I stuck around.
Yeah, I love it, man. I mean, the NFT side, or when we had the NFT run, that's when I went full time into crypto, like 2021, full time. I think it just got everyone excited around the possibilities of this space. And we saw really for the first time that there was more to this industry than just ICOs and one form of token. So yeah, that's cool, man. And what about the podcast? Because that obviously came, a couple of years after you really entered this industry. So you had the time to examine the industry and decide on kind of what grind you wanted to put in, like why podcast and also why log in, log off.
Yeah, so like I kind of got into podcasting. I started a gaming one specifically in the bear market, and when I done in the bear market, it was a tool to network with people, with founders that I wouldn't normally get the time to network with. So I started just like an online one and started doing that because I've always found myself to be a better speaker and better on camera than I am as a writer. And obviously Web3 is very much run by writers on Twitter specifically because of the algorithm. But I just found that format was really good. And that kind of dwindled down during the bear market as I kind of was too busy with work. And then like last year, during Token Singapore, I was surrounded by really like amazing creators, and I was inspired that like I think having a personal brand, I saw the potential leverage that had, but I understood that in like I could only go down the content route if I'd done it in a way that I enjoyed the process of it. I love consuming podcasts. I think it's a platform that allows for much more in-depth discussions and also just so much value that you can learn from. Like I've learned so much myself from podcasts that I've been able to apply to my life and help me navigate business, help me navigate finance, everything like that. And there's so many amazing people in this industry and amazing stories. And I found that a lot of the content was focused on speaking just about Web3 and like really down that rabbit hole, but not like kind of going back and like speaking about the amazing stories and amazing talent that we have in this industry. So yeah, I saw that kind of niche and that opening, and it was when obviously last year we kind of saw the run up in the market. So I thought there's a potential to also have parts of the show that I can then clip and try capture Web2 audience's interest in stuff that's not just meme coins, and maybe more about the opportunity to work in the industry or create content in the industry and everything like that. So yeah, I saw that gap and I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do it. But if I'm doing it, I'm gonna do it to like the best quality I possibly can and look to find the best stories I possibly can. And yeah, kickstarted in October, and then here we are.
Yeah, awesome, man. That's the thing, like, and this is a point I want to kind of ask from the back of that. Like, you managed to get traction pretty quickly. Like, you've had some huge guests. Obviously, I mentioned in the intro, Luca Nets, which is one of the biggest entrepreneurs in the space. And you're saying that you only started in Singapore. Singapore was in October last year. So how did the traction start on the podcast? And how did you start getting those big guests in?
Two sides of it. One is network. So one is just I've been in the space for long enough. I had friends who could help pull strings for me, and there's a lot of people that would be able, like, yeah, just good friends and good network allowed me to unlock those conversations. The second one was very much like, because I've done them all in person and high production, even if your reach isn't as high, because of the quality, I was presenting the founders in a way that was very premium and nice. Like, who wouldn't want to be presented and on a stage that's produced at a very high quality? And yeah, it just allowed me to fast track the quality of guests that I got on there because of the quality that I was presenting them in. It kind of made the conversations easier for people to be like, oh, like, this is different. This isn't like some of the other podcasts that were currently around at the time. It was like, oh, okay, like, this is actually, there's a lot of effort that goes into this, and it presents them in a really good way. So I think it was a mixture of network and quality.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? There's so many possibilities available to anyone in this space based on network. Like, we are in a super network orientated industry, and in a world that is so online, the in real life connection is more valuable than anything else. So I always encourage people, get out there, meet people. If you don't know how to do that, well, there's a conference circuit in crypto. Like you mentioned, this started at one of the main conferences of the year for crypto, which is Singapore. So yeah, I mean, you're pretty much a prime example of how powerful that in real life network can be, and how you don't necessarily need to come to crypto and Web3 knowing exactly what value you're going to provide, but rather build your network first, understand the industry, see the gaps, because from you explaining your story just now, it kind of seems that that's pretty much kind of, what you did. But yeah, I mean, moving on, you've obviously spoken to a lot of Web3 founders, and something that I'm personally very curious of is, in your opinion, what separates the founders that break out to the ones that don't?
I think like first thing I'd say is, one, to emphasize how hard it is to be a founder in the space. So obviously there's a lot of people that do everything right, but just because of product market fit or community side of things, it just doesn't hit what they needed to. But I think the biggest thing is like the ones that have been able to win in the market we've seen up till now is just people who understand Web3 culture really well, because there aren't that many products that have been able to go to the Web2 world yet. And those who could leverage the Web3 mechanics the best way and understand the psychology, understand how to cultivate a community and everything like that, have been able to survive longer and perform pretty well. And I think it's people who have been able to stick to their guns. I think a lot of people, like the founders or the teams that I see struggle the most are those who kind of chase narratives and chase metas. They jump on the AI meta, they jump on the gaming meta, and they're not really sure what their North Star is. I think a lot of the founders I've seen that have really won, like they're obsessed with one North Star. Luca obviously is obsessed to make PUBG like the biggest IP brand in the world. Amit from Proof of Play is focused on making games be able to outlive the studios themselves and be fully on chain, everything like that. It's like people who came to it and like have a North Star and will do nothing but look to achieve that North Star. So yeah, kind of drowning out the noise and focusing on their North Star is probably the one, like the commonality between the builders I've seen being most successful.
Yeah, laser focus. I think if I was going to criticize myself and why I chose Magnet as a business is I love being involved in so many new things, and just simply trying to focus on just one idea would be incredibly hard for the way that my brain's programmed and wired. So through Magnet, we get to work on multiple different cool ideas that come into market for the first time. And that to me is that I've always been a 0 to 1 entrepreneur. So being able to take that project from pre-TGE and through their token launch and get post-TGE traction is just the most exciting thing. And if you're building your own thing, you're going to do that once and once only. Whereas, again, you have to understand who you are and what your personality is and what model is going to fit you best.
And I think that works. Like, I think if you spot that you love going through that process and being on the edge of the innovation through all the different niches, there's a world for that as well. It's just not building a product-based company, like not building like a gaming studio that then looks good on AI and so forth.
No, of course. I mean, we're the structure, the whole point in our company is to support multiple projects. Otherwise, we don't have a business. So it works well with kind of where the value is in terms of what I think I can deliver. So yeah, anyone who's watching this, like, that's the thing. You build that network first. You start to understand what problems there are to solve and what one really makes you want to like not sleep. What one's keeping you on your laptop, tapping at your keyboard and being in the crypto trenches to try and work out. And that's probably the idea for you. And as you were saying, Caleb, don't just jump on a meta or a narrative because it's hot if you don't really care about it, because it's going to fade. And then you're going to be faced with reality in the real world. And that's where times get tough. But yeah, I mean, we spoke a lot about, or not a lot, but we've kind of had an intro into founders. And I guess the next question, and this comes into kind of your content creation background as well, is that I see founder-led brands doing extremely well in crypto. We're humans at the end of the day. People want to connect with people. They want to believe in people and believe in a vision that someone sets out. So although we've had a lot of famous entrepreneurs in crypto that have been completely doxed, right now I'm seeing that those that have the founder edge and are putting themselves out there and create their own content and sticking by their product are starting to do really well. And I just kind of wanted your thoughts on founder-led brands. What makes a good founder-led brand? Are they as impactful as I think they are? So yeah, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I think they're like, it's not just Web3 either. Web2 is fundamentally going down that route as well. You look at any of the big brands that come to your mind, you probably know who the founder is, whether it's Tesla, whether it's Apple, whether it's Represent, or whatever brand that is. There's often a face that is associated with it. I think it's very powerful. I think people are a lot more attached to people, like to other people, than they are brands now. And having someone at the forefront of that is so important. I think it's just I think some founders don't like see it quite complicated to kickstart that because they've never been content creators in the past. Like the dream world is like a founder that is naturally charismatic on camera, or a founder that is really good written skills, especially in Web3, you can get away with doing it on written skills. I think looking at the Web2 world, if you're a founder that wants to be the face of the brand going into Web2 world, I think visually it's just as important, whether that's on podcasts or whether that's doing their own video content documenting it. But yeah, I think it's probably one of the most fundamental pieces to kind of like any campaign or any company is to have, whether it's like obviously founders ideal, that's like top of the spectrum in terms of who you'd want to pick. But if you really can't figure it out for the founder side of things, I think it's good to just also find team members that can represent the brand really strongly, because I think, yeah, people love people and people trust people. And realistically, crypto is a world where people lack trust a lot of the time. The quickest way to solve that is through being human and being present, because then you're also putting your face kind of on the line for your brand. And I think people trust that a lot more.
For sure. And I think this is a good pivot into the next element. We want to start talking a bit more about the creator side, which obviously you have a lot of experience in and know a lot of creators. Some creators, of course, aren't doxed. Other creators are doxed. And some undoxed creators are hugely successful in this space. So I guess there are advantages of being, doxed, as we've discussed, but it's not a complete necessity as long as you get the other foundations of being a content creator right. And that's really kind of why I want to ask you, open question. What are some of those foundations? What makes a good content creator?
I think there's two main pillars to it. I think one is authenticity. Is like stop like a lot of people on the timeline, or a lot of people when they start content creation, they'll look at another content creator and be like, I want to be like Yellow Panther, I want to be like Whale, or I want to be like Beast. Like any of the really successful creators, like they just were authentic to who they were and what they found interesting, and just like went down that route and like fully embraced it. And I think it's like they then find a unique way to create content in a creative way, and that's how you stand out in the space. Like there are so many people who write threads in the space. There are so many people who even try to start podcasts, but then they fall off after 3. And it's like that kind of goes to the second point of what makes a good creator, and that's consistency. And I think in order to be consistent, you have to be authentic to yourself, because otherwise it's like almost impossible to stay consistent in content unless you actually enjoy the craft of like what you're trying to produce. Like I love, like every time I finish a podcast, I come out of it energized. Like I find it so fascinating to speak to these different people around different niches and challenge myself around areas that I'm not necessarily like a professional at. And I think, it's like finding, it's authenticity next to it, consistency is like the two main things. Obviously there's other variables, but I think if you go and explore those and make sure you stick to both of those, you probably have the best odds of kickstarting your content career.
Yeah, I think they're awesome tips. Really, really good tips. You can't fake who you are for a prolonged period of time, especially if you want to be effective. I guess one question I have kind of on top of this is, where do you think the creation and content creation sector of crypto is going? Because from my perspective, we've obviously, as a growth company, worked with so many creators over the years. And we've noticed, especially in the last 12 months, that a lot of the big creators that had extremely large pool have completely damaged their audiences, because we went through this meme period where anyone was shilling anything to try and make a quick buck. And they were essentially just shilling get rich quick Ponzi's. That's literally what it was. There are some memes that do serve a purpose within crypto, but the creators like these that I'm talking about, they weren't shilling, the billion-dollar, multi-billion-dollar meme coins, because they weren't being paid to shield them. They were shilling new launches that came out 3 hours ago and end in 12 hours and have a very short life cycle. And by doing that, they've hurt their audiences. And I kind of feel like, as well as crypto goes in cycles, so does content creators. Like some of the biggest content creators have kind of damaged their audiences and aren't trusted, authentic individuals anymore. And therefore, we're seeing this new rise of creators who are producing, in my opinion, much better quality content away from just shilling coins. So I guess my question to you is, where do you think this creator space goes in 12 or 18 months? What are the biggest changes that you think we're going to see?
I think we'll see a big push towards video content. I think we already are, video and lifestyle content. On the meme side of things, I think that's just comes down to this space has like peak temptation. And those people probably had life-changing money on the table when they done it, but part of the game is just outlasting everyone else. So protect brand at all times. But in terms of where I think the content's going to go, I think we're just going to start to expand outside of Twitter. I think everyone is like dying to expand outside of Twitter. They just haven't found a way to capture an audience and like perform well as a creator outside of Twitter specifically. And I think lifestyle unlocks that. I think you see the likes of, obviously Thread Guy had a lot of the lifestyle stuff. Yellow Panther's experimenting a lot with that. Miggy from Sophon is obviously also doing a lot of that content. I think that content resonates and captures an interest from audience outside of CT very well. And then you can kind of look to find funnels to be able to educate them on the space. But I think it goes down to an improved quality, but also I think lifestyle is probably a narrative. I think lifestyle and video content on other platforms is probably an area I see expanding with the top creators, because crypto unlocks some crazy lifestyle opportunities, but they just don't get captured. And I think that, yeah, that would be pretty attractive to a lot of people. And I think brands would find it valuable as well.
Okay, so here's a question for you. Do you think that if I started to mix up my content with like beating you at golf or beating you at paddle or just beating you at any sport, as obviously we both know is the truth and what happens, do you think that's a good fit for my content? Or like essentially if you were in my shoes and you're analyzing where I'm at with my personal brand, which I take a lot more seriously this year, what would you be doing if you were me to improve? I'd be brutal, bro. Like, train me.
I'd probably, yeah, I'd focus on the lifestyle and behind the scenes of the business side of things. Like, a lot of, like, it's the same way we kind of saw like the dropshipping world explode. Is like people started, like, it went, I think in my opinion, it went the wrong way, although it did engage a lot of the Web2 audience, is like the lifestyle that crypto can unlock for you. And like through that, going down the route of like behind the scenes of like the progress of scaling Magnet in itself, like business tips mixed with lifestyle. I think that's like there's a huge craving in the Web2 audience to be successful in business, to make money, everything like that. And I think in your case, you're obviously in the position that you're doing very well, the agency's doing very well and everything like that. You travel the world, you're in Bali, you're able to work remotely from wherever you want. Those are all stuff that, like, I think a lot of people forget 95% of the world's population would crave and die for. So it's like spotlighting that in a high quality manner and like in a way that people can actually relate to you as a person. I'd say that's probably an interesting angle for you specifically to unlock, especially looking to go outside the bubble. And also you'll attract a lot of other interesting business people, and it's a good networking tool as well. Like say you're in Bali and you meet with you do go play golf and network with a few people. Documenting that in an interesting way is, yeah, I think it'd be a nice way to scale it, because people then relate to you as a person instead of just like the luxury side.
Yeah, agreed, Matt. Agreed. And I think I when I started to do content again, one of the guys who's advising me was talking about lifestyle. But their idea of lifestyle was, you live in Dubai, like give the Dubai lifestyle. I was like, yeah, but dude, I just sit in front of my laptop 12, 14 hours a day. Like I'm not out driving fucking Ferraris and Lamborghinis and doing all this shit. And if I push the content to do that, it's just not who I am. So but you're right, like this summer I'm obviously traveling around doing different things. So I'm definitely going to give that a go, man. I'm definitely going to factor in some lifestyle content while I'm out here on the move and kind of see how we get on. So yeah, we can revert back to this, podcast session if I do well, and maybe you can, you can't take credit for beating me on the golf course, but you might be able to take credit from, helping me grow as a creator.
No, and the paddle court and any other sports court. But I think the big thing is like one thing you said there, and one thing I'd point out is like, you see like, oh, if it works out well, it'll work out if you want it bad enough. Like if you're consistent enough, like if you want to go down the lifestyle thing and you're consistent enough, it will work. It's like, it will. You just got to find the style of like lifestyle content that is unique to you. Like you see that Danielle guy on Instagram, he has a very, very unique way of documenting lifestyle and entrepreneurship, and that's why he's so well known. But yeah, that's one thing I was pointing out, is like it will work if you stick to it long enough.
Yeah. Well, look, I'll stick to it, and we'll see where we're at after summer with the numbers. So yeah, let's put your hypothesis into a test and see whether it works. But yeah, let's do it, man. Okay, just coming kind of towards the end of the session here. A couple of things. So I think there's no entrepreneurial story without any failures. I think, failures are pivotal to our development. And I was just wondering, since you've been in this industry, is there anything that you failed at that has helped you kind of become who you are today?
Yeah, I mean, I failed at a lot of things. I'd say I failed at most things when I first started them. So like even in the marketing side of Web3, I failed a fair bit there in terms of like testing stuff. And I think naturally marketing requires a lot of failure and testing and everything like that. The first podcast I done on the online version, I technically failed at because it stopped. A lot of the content that I tried to go down the route I went down to, I failed. because of lack of consistency and sticking through it. So there's a lot of failures that I've probably gone through in this space, and all that includes trading. Like there's so many trading failures that I don't really want to go into. Those are always the painful ones. But I think the biggest lesson I've learned from a lot of them is very much to understand the nature of the space we're in, and that the fact that it's so fast moving and it's very innovative, and the fact that you spend enough time, you stick to a certain area, and you don't get distracted by, like, I guess the red dress that a lot of people speak about. It's like, and you don't get distracted, you just zone in on what you want most in this industry. That's been the biggest solve for like all of that, is because like I think a lot of the time when my failures were happening was because I kept chasing other stuff or looking at other shiny coins or other trading opportunities, everything like that. Even from like a content perspective, the same route. So I think it's very much picking what I want out of this industry and just being like, okay, that's my North Star. I'm just gonna do that, and I'll miss out on stuff, but that's the reality.
Yeah, I think that's really good advice. And you know, sometimes we can listen to other people's failures and learn from them and avoid having to go through that experience. Me personally, I know my personality, and I know that I probably need to feel the failure to truly learn it, and kind of use other people's failures as like guiding lines. But yeah, I mean, I've listened to a fair few and still, you know, ended up failing. So yeah, at least, you know, people who might not be as stupid as me might listen and just avoid based on what Caleb's telling them to do. But yeah, man, I think kind of signing this off now. If someone's listening to this podcast, they've heard a bit about the business side of crypto. They've heard a little bit about, you know, the creator side. What would you say someone looking to enter either of these sites and essentially start monetizing their presence in crypto? What would you say should be their first step after this episode?
Get on CT and get in the trenches, and don't rush monetization. Like I think like especially in Web3, there's so much opportunity to make good money, but everyone I know that makes good money. Initially, when they started, a lot of them didn't make any money for it. Like they done their first job for free, they done a modding job for free, and now they're like a head of an agency. Like so much of it is like, okay, like I'm just curious and I'm interested in this stuff. Just learn as much as you can. And like we say, network. I think almost everyone I know close to me that is in really good jobs that allow for all this freedom was unlocked through networking. So get involved in the crazy world of CT. Stay curious. People love speaking to other people. So send your shots on DMs just to chat, like jump on a call with someone, network with them, build a relationship. Yeah, and I'd just say stay curious. And then at some point you'll realize, okay, like I'm fascinated by the DeFi part of this, like this industry. Okay, I'm going to start writing about that, or I'm going to start a podcast about that. Then you decide. But yeah, I think come into it, be curious, learn, network, and then over time, you'll get a better judgment of where you want to go down. And then with that comes monetization alongside it and all the other opportunities that this space can offer.
Yeah, awesome, man. I think the point about monetization is so important. When I first set up Magnet, or a growth consultancy company in the space, because we rebranded to Magnet. Once we got a bit of traction, we wanted to create a brand that can appeal to more people. But yeah, I mean, we did a lot of growth work for free, just to build up our credibility rep and case studies. But that was like a 6-month period. So yeah, I agree. If you come in just to try and monetize and make money straight away, you're going to have a harder job at actually building something real that stays. And again, it comes back to all your points about content as well. It's about commitment. It's about showing up every day and just making it work, and pivoting until you get to that point. So yeah, man, really great points. And yeah, just to you know, round up here, like if anyone's listened to this and they want to know more about you, they want to maybe listen to the Login Lock Off podcast, now's your chance, bro. Like, where can people find you?
Yeah, on pretty much all platforms at Caleb Rebelo. So Twitter is probably the place I'm most active. Instagram, I have a lot of the short stuff, and then YouTube is a lot of the long form as well. So those are the main areas. TikTok as well, I have a lot of the shorts. But yeah, if you wanted to get in touch and stuff like that, it'd probably be Twitter is the best location.
Soon to be on other platforms, taking your own advice.
Yes, I am. That is in the process. Yes, Spotify, everything like that will be coming, as well as more present on the TikTok world.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, look, man, really appreciate you jumping on today. Big thanks. And yeah, you've shared a lot of game with us. And yeah, really pleased to have had that from you. And my final point here is if you are serious about trying to grow something in crypto, specifically a crypto project, that's what fruit you're picking, and you want to do it the right way, then make sure that you grab the free Quadfecta of Crypto Growth PDF. I'm going to leave a link in the description of this podcast. It literally breaks down the exact 4-part system that Magnet has used to help projects go from launch to longevity. It's free, it's tactical, and it's waiting for you. Just check the description. But yeah, I mean, Caleb, thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for sharing your wisdom. Please, anyone who's watching this, go and follow Caleb. You're going to see the quality of his content, and you're going to continue learning, because he has some amazing guests and he's a great host. So I definitely advise you to go and check out his content if you want to keep building and growing in the space. But yeah, man, appreciate you jumping on. Any final remarks, or do you feel like you've got some stuff off your chest?
I think that's all. I think the biggest thing is just do what you set out to do. Be ambitious, set high goals, and stick to it. The space offers like life-changing opportunities. So yeah, I'd say just do it and stay curious and see where it takes you.
Awesome. Words to live by. Really appreciate you jumping on. Look forward to seeing you after summer, and you know, humbling you a few more times at whatever sports you wish to be humbled at.
You only want to play golf. That's, you stick to the one sport that you think you have, and then when you're ready to go outside of golf, let me know.
Bro, I'm there, man. I'm there. What happened to paddle? You were giving it a lot of talk about paddle, and it just never happened. You were too busy flying to Greece.
You travel to the other side of the world for like 3 months just to get away from the paddle game. So let's not talk about he was avoiding it.
Dude, look, Magnet has an office here in Bali for summer, and all you got to do is jump on a plane. There's a lot of paddle courts around here. There's a lot of smoke that can be handed out. Just know that.
Maybe we'll have to do it.
Anyway, people don't need to hear our discussions and our back and forth banter, but that is the beauty of Web3. You get to know people that are, I would say, cool, but I don't want to blow his trumpet too much, but he's a good lad. And yeah, you can build good relationships here, and that's where you got to start. So thank you all for listening. Caleb, thank you again for jumping on, and I guess I'll see you all on the next episode of the Magnetic Growth podcast.
Amazing.